Join us as Mike and Brook Reilly check the temperature of the Cleveland real estate market for late January and early February. We're in about a 60-40 seller's market. Inventory is still pretty low. We also discuss not putting the cart before the horse in terms of investment properties and the importance of knowing your numbers and not investing emotionally. All this and more on the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast.
Okay, everybody. Hey, Cleveland Real Estate Investor. We got a quick heat check of properties in Cleveland. And with me is Brook Reilly. So let's just do a quick heat check. What's the word on the street, Brook, on if you're talking to Lauren and our people at Howard Hanna? What are they telling you?
That the market's not as hot as it was a year or two ago, but we put a house on the market that I thought was going to sit for a week or two, and we got an offer at the price we wanted to after a day. So that tells me that people are still, it's still somewhat of a seller's market. I think you just have to price them right.
Right.
You can't price them too high, and I think the one thing that you and I at least agree on when we talk to realtors is whenever we tell them what we think the price is, it's always been, that's too high. And it's like, well, let's just try, and at least for you and me, we're smart about knowing when we list it after a certain point, a week or two, definitely a week. If you're not getting anything, that price is way too high.
Exactly.
Price is way too high. Like you're shooting for the moon. So
you're on crack. You're on Cleveland real estate crack, right?
So, yeah, I'm happy we got one under contract.
Well, we got 3 more hitting the market. We're putting up. These are furnished properties, and 2 of them are owned by one of our investors, and he just wants to get, he's got too many properties, and everybody and their dogs in Airbnb, which is another thing you got to keep in mind. But inventory is still low. So first-time home buyers are still interested. They're still out there, and that's who bought, our Fenley Road home. I think what we're trying to do is, what we're attempting to do is get value added on some of these properties where we're including the furnishings for them. So we're attracting investors who may want to buy a property that's all teed up, ready to go. I mean, it's got everything. It's got a website. We're managing the property. It's in a good, safe neighborhood. And if you're looking to invest in a property for a mid to long term, then these properties would be perfect for you. They're all in the $200,000 range, and they come with furnishings and a property manager. Yeah. And one of the things that we've noticed in the last 6 months, we're getting a lot of calls from people who they put the cart ahead of the horse. They got all excited buying a property, and then they start turning around looking for a property manager and, mechanics to take care of the house. And they don't even realize how much money they have to put into the house. So yeah, I bought this house for $150, but they end up putting $100 in. So they paid $250. So what I'm seeing coming into Cleveland is a lot of what I call dumb money, chasing stocks, chasing the price, but not looking at the analytics. And so if you're looking for investment property in Cleveland, there is opportunity here, but you need to have your ducks in a row before you take the plunge. Your thoughts, Brook?
Yeah, I mean, do your homework, do your due diligence. I think the things that we're advertising for a couple homes where it's geared more towards an investor is definitely something that probably not a lot of, there's not a lot of, it's a very unique situation where it's coming with the furniture, it's coming with a lease, it's coming with a property management company. So I think if you're someone out there who's like, it's going to it's a very small net, but I think it'll attract a very specific type of investor.
Right. We talked to our realtor, Lauren, and we've said, I want this copy for this house. Don't give me this Scarborough Road charmer, Don't give me that realtor bullshit. but make this nuts and bolts. The facts. This is the house that comes with a lease.
Let's be honest. If you're an investor, you don't give a shit about the charming half bathroom.
Right.
You care about,
ROI. ROI, baby.
Is there a new roof? Is there central air? So yeah, you're looking at the numbers. Let's be honest. Even if you're not an investor and if you're a young person looking to buy their first home, like that's what you need to be looking at. Like I remember when, I was considering buying the house that I'm in now, the family home. And I remember I was on a run and I was just doing doing pros and cons because we loved our current house that we were at. But, we just found out that my wife was pregnant and I just started doing the pros and cons. And I was sticking to the facts. I was sticking to the numbers, the city, the taxes, the number of bedrooms, the, AC. So my decision at the end of the day, I felt comfortable because I knew in my heart that, no, this is the smart play. This is the smart thing to do. So I think if you're an investor or even if you're not and you're looking for your first home, you really need to study your numbers and, don't make a emotional decision.
Hey, let's stop here. We got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. If you've been listening to this podcast, then you understand or should understand the pitfalls of investing in Cleveland real estate. Say you're looking for an investment property to rent, and these are the things that could happen and often do. You overpay for a house, and it's in the ghetto. Then you find that it's a money pit with endless surprise repairs. Your hapless property manager, who may be the brother-in-law of the realtor, gets a tenant who after 3 months stops paying the rent. Then the toilet explodes, and you have nobody to repair it because, guess what? The property manager is not answering the phone. Yep, that's the ugly side of the Cleveland real estate market. But we have a solution. Buy one of our properties. It's been inspected. It's been vetted. It's in a rock-solid part of town. It comes with a Gold Star tenant paying top dollar rent, and we manage it. Call us at 216-371-8160 if you're interested.
Well, we had talked earlier podcast about setting goals and having a plan, having analytics to measure it. We're getting a lot of calls from people who just bought a house. Like I said, the cart before the horse buyer. They just bought a house. Now they need somebody to manage it. Instead of getting the property manager and then going out with counsel from your property manager about where would be a good place to buy. That's going to be easy to rent. It's going to have a high quality tenant that has the option to go, short term or mid-term, which I call the 6 to 8 month bookings, which you can get a premium on. But I've been also struck by the fact of these people that are calling the cart before the horse callers, and they somehow think they're going to make 15% return on their property. How'd you figure that out? 15%. I mean, we're looking at our properties that we had, and I mean, if we're making between 8 and 12,
yeah, that's good.
We're good. But, you're not going to make between 8 and 12 every year because you're going to have the furnace to replace, the roof to replace. The normal, repairs the capital improvements you're going to have to do. Now, at the end of the day, what you're also hoping for is appreciation, a neighborhood that's going to, improve. But I've been struck by people that just call and have just no sense of the numbers about what this house is going to take to turn it around. What do you expect to make? What interest rate you're paying on the loan? And it reminds me of people that they want to lose weight, so they're going on a diet that promises, you're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. That's just not realistic. So I guess this is repeating a lot of themes but the heat check for January and February right now it is still a seller's market, a little bit leaning 60-40 seller's market because the inventory is so low.
Yeah.
Okay. There are areas in Cleveland you do not want to buy in because maybe a couple years ago there was a chance that these neighborhoods are going to turn around, but that's not happening. You know, the inner city, parts of Maple Heights, Garfield Heights, parts of this, parts of that, they're not going anywhere from an appreciation standpoint.
Well, and then you got homes too in like Lakewood and Ohio City that are just overpriced.
They're overpriced. Tremont, overpriced. Gordon Square, overpriced.
Yep.
You know, so you got to micro target, and that is why you don't necessarily do not go to a realtor for an investment deal, because all they're interested in is selling you a house, and then
Then it's your problem.
Then it's your problem, and you're going to end up losing money. So, quick heat check for January. We've got a couple houses, folks, that we're going to be putting on the market this weekend. We're going to be selling them to investors, so we'll check in with you in a week and let you know how those things are going. All right, thanks, Brooke. Yeah. Thanks, Amari.
Thank you for listening to the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast with Mike Reilly. Please add our show or follow us on Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. Leave a like or comment on the video. All engagement is appreciated. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well for video content coming soon. For any Cleveland listeners or Cleveland Browns fans, you can check out our other podcast, Cleveland Browns Anonymous, for our weekly group therapy session. This is also on all the same platforms as the Cleveland Real Estate Investor.